Hey, the whole idea of AI agents is so brand new that most frameworks like LangChain, Creo AI, and agency SORMs, they're actually not production ready without tons of extra work. But Pydantic AI changes everything, and I'm going to show you exactly how to build AI agents that actually work in production without all the unnecessary complexity that other frameworks force on you. So before you start building your agents using any other frameworks, watch this video because I'm going to explain what it takes to build an AI agent that is production ready from day one and that is model agnostic. And that means you can create agents with any LM models you choose. Now, before we dive in, make sure you grab the Google Colab notebook. It's going to be in the link below. Even if you're just watching now, you want this for later. Okay, let's be real. Most AI agent frameworks out there are built by developers sitting in their bubble, thinking every problem needs a multiple agent system talking to each other. It's actually overkill. Today, I'll show you how to build systems or something that actually works in production using Pydantic agents. Okay, no fluff, no complexity, just real solutions that business actually really need. You can start with simple single agents. You can do multiple agents. You can do synchronous calls, asynchronous calls. You can use Claude, OpenAI. You can use Gemini, whatever model you want. And it all works in production. And don't worry, we're going to get started with a Google Colab notebook so you can get your first-hand experience building your first agent. And this agent will use an external weather API as a tool that it can call, and we're going to compare the performance between OpenAI and Claude. And you will be shocked of the end results. So make sure you watch this video till the end so you can also follow along step by step and also get this working in your end. Let me show you what makes Pydantic special. At its core, it's a validation library in Python that's been around for a while. So as you can see, it has been released 2017 and it's been around for almost a decade. OpenAI and Anthropic use it for their validation. And there's a reason for that. Because a lot of function calling or tool calling that the agents use needs to work reliably. And that's why OpenAI function calling has been the best so far when it comes to production ready and reliable outputs and inputs, right? So they use something called structured output. To make this also work reliably for open source and other models, Pydantic is a game changer because they've already have experience with the validation layer that makes sure that what you expect is what you actually get. The same goes for large language models. You often need specific structured outputs, and Pydantic ensures that you get exactly that. Now let's dive into the features of the documentation. This is your first time looking at it. I encourage you to go through Pydantic AI, what it's about. Some of the examples they also provide, like the Hello World example. You could test this out as you're doing the Google Colab exercise, and as well as installation. Now we have a Google Colab notebook, easy for you to plug and play, so you don't have to worry about the installation piece. And so let's explain why Pydantic agents are going to be helpful with your open source projects. There's a lot of traps when you're developing or building agents today in this current environment. There's vendor lock-in. You don't want to be trapped in a single ecosystem. For example, OpenAI is great. It's a great thing to start putting together solutions out there. Great, but eventually you need to move out. Eventually you need to take your database out. You need to move your solutions out. That's completely customized and it works reliably for your use case. There is no type safety, unstructured input, output chaos. We explained why is it important to get reliable schemas for your function calls. Pydantic AI solves. That was a big component why a lot of frameworks and a lot of open source stuff before were not reliable. It wasn't production ready. It was still experimental. Now, using Pydantic, you're not vendor locked. So what that means, you can quickly switch your models. You can move from OpenAI, Claude, you can use DeepSeek, you can use any LM models, even a custom models that you have fine-tuned. All right. So no hidden costs, no vendor lock, none of that. So go to the documentation, but at the core, the main thing that it solves is schema validation, automatic type checking conversion. Schema validation is the most important aspect of it. So the automatic type checking conversion, every output is validated, stream response is available, no unexpected data formats. So for example, in a real world, when an agent needs something like customer ID or a database connection, you don't have to pass these through your LM, your agent session handles all that automatically. But the multi-agent systems, what they have been doing was creating different agents for different purposes. It does make sense in some cases, but not all. For a simple call to the database, you can just create a simple tool that for your agent to work reliably, right? With other frameworks, you'd have to manually call tools and add extra parameters. With Pydantic, you just tie everything to your agent session. It's elegant and it works. And there's also the error recovery piece, built-in retrieve mechanism. So sometimes when the agent calls a tool, a task, sometimes it fails. And this is a major problem with any kind of agent that you build. But it's kind of lost in this weird error purgatory state, and it doesn't know how to get out of it. So Pydantic solves that with error recovery, right? So if something fails, it tries again until it works. And also monitoring, because this handles performance evaluation and how much tokens are getting used. Sometimes you want to restrict the amount of tokens getting used. This allows you to have access and visibility to all that. As you go through this tutorial, you might be tempted to drop all other frameworks, all other things, everything you know about agents. But trust me, you still need some guidance in implementation. Understand, although Pydantic has solved a big component of the agent architecture, it's still a work in progress. There's still a lot of development, a lot of community support that needs to happen to make it really exciting and amazing and as competitive as the OpenAI Assistant API. I encourage you to go through the community and all the resources available to safely transition and also have an implementation framework in place. And if you're deploying to businesses, enterprise, midsize, whatever. So under the models section, you're going to see all the models that are available for your agents to use: OpenAI, Anthropic, Ollama, DeepSeek, Grok, Mistral, Query, all the famous and not so famous ones. So you could actually test and use it for your specific use case. Some models work better than others. It just depends on what you're using. We're going to explore in a future videos different case studies with these agents, different builds that you can explore for different purposes, so you can get to try it out. First off, let's talk about dependencies. Think of dependencies as giving your AI agent the tools it needs to work. Just like a chef needs kitchen tools and ingredients, your AI might need API keys or database connections. In Pydantic AI, you put all these tools in a special container or Python class. When your AI needs to make an API call or connect to a database, it can reach into this container and get what it needs. Next up, you have function tools. Now, function tools are giving your AI the ability to ask for extra information while it's working. Imagine you're writing a letter, but these need some facts. These tools let the AI to do just that. In our example, we're going to be creating a weather agent that pulls the weather from an outside API call. So it needs to add that context into the memories to respond to any questions related to weather. So you can create tools like a weather tool, a database tool, a search tool, etc. Any kind of tool. And these tools can be thought of as simple Python functions that the AI can call whenever it needs that information. Next up, we have messages and chat history. This is like keeping notes of the conversation. Every time your AI talks with someone, it creates messages. You can save these messages and use them later so that the AI remembers what was discussed. It's important for the AI to remember. So as you can see, the interaction with the agent as well as the chat history drives how this memory is formulated for your agent. Now, next up, you have testing. Testing is divided into two parts. First, you have the regular code testing, making sure your application works correctly. Second, you have evaluation, checking how well the AI is actually performing its task. It's like testing a car engine called unit tests and versus testing how well it drives. Evaluation. The framework provides special tools for testing without making real AI calls, which save time and money doing this, right? So as you can see, Pydantic AI has abstracted away a lot of these complexities. So me, you, your next door neighbor can start building agents just like a developer would. So you don't need complex frameworks. Even Crew AI seems complex at this point. So you can fire your developer who's already still stuck with the Crew AI frameworks and any other frameworks really, because if we have this in place and it works reliably, the function calling, the tool calling works, the agent is all set. Now we have multi-agent frameworks. The great thing with Pantic AI is that it has a single agent as well as a multi-agent framework. So you're not limited to only one black box solution, right? So this can be applied to any simple business application. So you can start implementing this right away. And when we talk about multi-agents, it's really organizing workers in a company. You can have one worker doing everything, single agent, or a manager delegating to specialists, agent delegation, or a production line where work moves from one expert to another, programmatic handoff, a complex workflow where tasks flow through multiple paths depending on what happens. So this is going to be a graph based. Now each approach could get complex but offers more control over how the AI systems work together. So as you're building these systems, so you could very well create your own custom compound AI system using this framework. We have people in our accelerator also building their own custom frameworks. You could be just using that, but everything depends on your specific use case. I say start with simple one, go complex. Don't think backwards. Hey, so when you're ready, drop the silly chatbots and unleash the full potential of your AI agents. So now that you know a little bit about agents, Pantic AI, and what this means to open source and model agnostic AI going forward, we're going to dive into a workbook written in Google Colab. We're going to use OpenAI and Anthropic Claude to basically test this framework out. You need both of these API keys to use it. You could also use any open source model, whichever one you choose, but this will get you started. The link to this notebook is going to be the first link in the description. Check it out and feel free to customize and build on top of this. So first and foremost, what we're going to be doing is running this pip install. So this is going to install the necessary libraries or packages needed for this code. Clear this. We are going to now input our API keys. I already plugged in my API keys. So we're going to use getPass to securely use our APIs. So this is stored securely in this environment. And we're going to run this block right here. It's going to enable asyncio, and we're going to talk about what asynchronous task calling really means in a little bit. Creating the OpenAI agent. So we're going to be creating our agent first, right? This is a system prompt. Answer the following question concisely. You could use your own system prompt. It basically is like giving instructions to your AI employee. We'll use the GPT-4o model. You can run this. OpenAI agent, done. Then we're going to run the OpenAI agent. So now we're going to do our first use case. We're going to ask the agent what is the capital of Italy, and we're going to run this synchronously. So synchronous and asynchronous are two different ways to run this agent. Synchronous is like a drive-through restaurant. Each car has to wait for the other in front to get their food before they can move forward. Just how this task is going to be performed one after the other. The asynchronous is more like a restaurant kitchen. Multiple orders are being prepared at the same time. While one order is cooking, the chef can start working on another. So this saves you a lot of time when you're doing multiple tool calls or tasks, right? So the great thing with Pantic, it solves for both of these, so you can use whichever one that fits your particular use case, right? We're going to use the Python's native asynchronous features to basically run this in parallel. Creating the Anthropic Claude agent. So we're now going to create the Claude agent using Claude 3.5, and we're going to ask what's the capital of Spain. We're going to run this code right here, and we get the capital of Spain. Step 4 is now we're going to add tools. Just like we explained, that agent needs hands, not just a brain. So we're going to add some tools, some tasks for the agent to perform. In this case, we're going to use a weather API. This is from witter.in. It's a basic website where you can get the current weather without really calling an API. So we can just use request to send this off. And we're going to wrap this into a tool function, right? So this is one of the tools that we just created for our agent. And see how easy it is to create the tool for both OpenAI and Anthropic. So a tool can be thought of as a function that you can write in Python, and you could basically pass it to whatever agent. So you don't have to move from different vendors, you can do everything in one place. Even if you're using no code like n8n or any other solutions, you're not vendor locked, right? So you can just build it once, recreate it when something gets a little bit expensive token wise or just doesn't work. Move your code, move your functions. All it is functions. So if you get used to writing these functions, you're all good. All right, so now we're going to run this. And so what it's doing is, all right, so we're going to run this. I took 4.07 seconds and Claude took 4.54 seconds to do the same task. We're getting the weather of London. Current weather in London is misty with a temperature of 0 degrees Celsius. And then Claude says, according to the weather report, it's currently foggy and 0 degrees 32 in Fahrenheit in London. Looks like Claude, although it slightly takes a few more seconds, but it seems like it was able to think and give the answers in a much more precise way. As you can see, it put the Fahrenheit, and it constructed a pretty good sentence. I would just say Claude won this, even though it took slightly longer. So in conclusion, we created two models, agnostic AI agents. We found out the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. We added a live weather tool for both agents. We measured and compared the performance between these two models. Now feel free to modify and extend this notebook for further implementation. So as you know, 2025 and beyond is all about agents. So we should all be building agents, whether we're using Pantic or not. We also need a game plan to start putting this forward to businesses and solving real world problems. So you can go ahead and safely drop chatbots, some rigid frameworks, and also all these complex UX. So because agents are the future, we give you a complete roadmap to start working on the agent builds, start getting familiar of the landscape. So make sure you join the community. I'm going to put the link in the description, as well as provide you the whole code here for you to try and test it out. All right, so I'm going to leave these two videos for you to watch for more information. These are going to be relevant to you. Hey, so when you're ready, drop the silly chatbots and unleash the full potential of your AI agents.